Hello and welcome back to the Halo Infinite Grifball podcast. It's been a very long time, but we have a very special and big episode here for you tonight. This is our fifth episode in the series, and I'm back with Grumpy Mavs and
Hello.
special guest Deathcrawler.
Hello.
So, without really trying to, we kind of have like an admin abuse podcast here because we all actually ended up being IGL admins. So, we totally didn't do any funny business there. But
I totally
It
did not
wasn't it
bribe
wasn't a
you
Game of
people.
Thrones episode. Oh yeah.
yeah, so it's been quite the off season. A lot of stuff's been going on, and definitely since the last podcast, a lot of stuff has happened. So leadership change, a lot of late league, a lot of upcoming season stuff. So yeah, we definitely have a lot to talk about. So with doing the IGL season this time around, we decided to do a league to where we could get our admin team structure, try some things out, maybe throw a little new things in there, and do what we wanted before gearing up for the AGLA season and leadership change. So Death and Mav were actually selected to be admins, and Ace Spence decided he would tag along as well to bring some consistency to it. So it's definitely been great working with y'all, and I personally think you've both been doing a good job.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah. It was a crazy off season. I don't know. What was the last podcast episode? It must have been the
It was
maybe
the
with the
championship.
champions.
Yeah, it was one of the champions at like the end of June. So it's been what, like 2 months, almost 2 months. I don't. On. I can tell you when the last time we had.
Yeah, it was June, so I mean it's been at least 2 months ago. So, but the one between the end of the season and the beginning of the next season is definitely going to be the longest gap. So, but maybe
It
next
was a
time around,
very
maybe next time around I'll do one in between, so then that way there's not such a long gap.
it was a
So
very interesting series of events. It was a very interesting era for Grifball there. I don't think we. When did we announce the season at that point? It must have been July,
uh,
right?
yeah, it was like I think it was the first week of July. Hold on, let me scroll up on the announcements channel and find it. I think it was like July 10th. I think it was right before Pop Tower. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, July 10th. It was
July
right
10th.
right before the late league stuff.
Month-long sign up.
Yeah, not many people like that.
The month-long sign up. It's gonna go down in history. I'll tell you that.
Well, it is something that had happened the last two seasons, but probably it isn't something that we definitely won't need it for next season. I feel like a 2 week sign up cycle should suffice because you can have it.
Talk to Pop Tart.
You can
Oh,
have it a
sorry.
week, you can have it 2 weeks, you can have it a month, you can have it a year. Somebody's gonna miss it, and it doesn't matter how long you run it. Somebody is gonna miss out on signups. It's
Oh,
just
absolutely.
it's how it's always
We
been.
had that. We had
Yeah,
that, and and I'm looking at Lux here. Right? He's been playing in customs this weekend, and I reached out to him, and he's like, "Well, absolutely not." And I see him in customs, and I see him in customs without me even inviting him there. I'm like, oh. It
I
just
tell
makes me
I
laugh. I don't think he actually wants to play in a season, and I get that. Like, it's a long commitment. He just wants to the customs every so often, and then maybe show up if we have an event that's like a day long or a weekend.
say I talked to him and he told me that he was not interested in doing a season, but he would be more than happy to sign up for a tournament. So he definitely is not a season guy anymore.
True. Yeah, true. And I get that. Like, seasons are a big commitment. I think it's the flagship event and like content structure, I guess, that we're used to, and I think it's still a good thing to have. But it's a big commitment. It has its pros and has its cons. For all of the lifer griff ballers, where we want to have like a nice sports style structure, it makes a lot of sense. But if you're kind of just wanting to come in and play the game to play the game, you don't want to sit around for 8 weeks at a time to play with the same set of people. To me, it's great because you get to make a lot of new friends along the way. That's where I've had the most fun doing this stuff. But someone like Lux, he's not really gonna knows all these people already. not really anything new for him. He said to me, he's like, you know how many seasons I've played with Digital and Ace Spence and all these other guys?
Yeah,
The guy's been playing since he was 9, I think.
I get that for sure. All we can do is really just encourage people to sign up and hope they will next season if they don't. And there's other ways to get in on it. And the whole season's played thing, he can't really beat me with that argument because I played way more seasons.
Oh, you have, yeah.
Oh, I've played way more
Stockholm
seasons.
syndrome over here.
But yeah, but I think everything's been going great. We've been seeing some small but constant growth. People coming back, some new people that we've been seeing come in and trying to make a name for themselves. But we're definitely gonna get more into that later.
Yeah, and shout out to him. We got Indicis and also got
The
Yanked
big
and
kitty,
back.
Majestic Kittens, the Goosler.
He's on my team. I'm happy to have him around. Yeah, we're gonna have him play. I would encourage anybody who has a team to do this, but don't if you don't want to. I'm gonna have him play half the games and or play the other half of the games during the season.
So
Excited to have-
Mav, how does it feel, man? Like, how does it feel? You've been wanting to be an admin for a while, and you got it now. I know.
I mean, like,
you've been wanting it for a while.
it's interesting. Like, to me, it doesn't feel like much has changed, but I guess I have so many more responsibilities, and I guess necessarily power to an extent. Like, I have such a, you could say like a large control, even though it's like we're the 4 versus rabbits. Like the power's like split up to 25% or whatever it is between me, you, Death, and Ace Spence. So, but still, like have such a, I guess, control. I want to say control. That's not the right word. Seems like I'm power hungry there, but like, what's the word? Not maybe effect over like what's going to happen in the future with the community and like really try
direction.
Yeah. Like just try and like really make the community better and make it more welcoming. Like I really like how Death is trying to get his fourth. Would he be your fourth or third?
He's my. I only have 5. Well, including me, it's 5 people on the team.
Okay, so he would be like your 4th round pick.
Yeah.
So like I really like that. Like we're starting to get like newer players the opportunity to play and try to expand the community bigger and better than it was before.
Yeah. I think, and you're right about that, Netflix. I think we have like seen growth, even though you might look at it and say we have 10 teams now. What do we have? 12. We had 12 and then 2 fifths last season, I think. So we stretched everything to the point.
I think if we really wanted to stretch it, we could have had like 13, maybe 14 teams. I would have to do the math.
I think it is possible to have had 13. 3 more teams. Yeah, we had a full 4th round.
So that's
8.
11. That's 12. We would have had 13 and 1 spare. We would have had one person not get drafted if we did 13.
Yeah. That's pretty good. I mean, because we had some key players dropped out. Like Ace. Ace wasn't here this season, even though this probably would have been his strongest season. I mean, just look, he might have gotten Fancy on his team.
Right.
That would have been an incredibly overpowered team with Fancy and Ace on the team.
He might have gotten Gingy, or he could have gotten Gingy on his team. Actually, looking at this now, Gingy was the last of the first round.
I mean, I think if
Ace had been in there.
Yeah, I think
one more.
I think if Ace signs up, we probably push it to more teams because it just at that point, you're gonna have like Gingy and Fancy or whoever just like fall out of the first round. They'll probably expand it to that point. Just to me, I didn't feel comfortable. I guess all of our decision, but like I didn't feel comfortable like stretching it out, and I wanted to have like a really competitive team where every team is sort of close to the same skill level. Just have like a lot of good players on the not one good team, but have like a lot of good players, but just a little bit less teams.
It's all trade-offs, really. I mean, what are we trading off? It's like we now, by having that 4th round, having an extra set of people on your team, it makes it a lot easier for getting games played.
I think it's a lot lower of a risk to have less teams and more players because it's just if you have more teams, you got to count on those lower players that haven't played as much, and you're not sure. You're counting on them to be there every game as a fourth, and that's just not. It's not going to happen. Not for every team.
Right.
Some teams are going to have holes in them, so it's safer to do it that way. And our captains matter, and the community matters too. What they want to see as far as like pull strength and stuff like that. I guess you could call it that.
Yeah, and there was a lot of not groaning, but there's a lot of calls for like we need to make sure that the pool is nice and strong. So what do? You make it less teams, and everybody gets to have their strength at the top there. People kind of fall down to the fourth round. And it makes it sound kind of bad, but it is what it is. I think yeah, and you're right about the risk. Like if we had 12 teams, 13 teams, there's going to be people that maybe the last, if I don't know, let's say theoretically Spank's the last captain or something, he might have had like 2 black holes on his team in terms of KD that just couldn't
You can't
pull
win
their
with that.
weight or something. And you just then
Yeah.
now that guy's season is ruined and he has no options. So yeah, I think there's just trade-offs. You could easily look at this too and say, well, now there's all these 4th and 5th round people that aren't going to get to play, and that's going to something we're figuring out as the season goes on. I think we're going to find ways to get them active in the community. I can't speak on exactly what you were playing on Noplex, but I think it's going to turn out pretty well for them though.
What I plan on doing, and I've already messaged everybody. I'm just gonna see who I can get into a custom, and then see who joins and plays, and then I plan on doing a second sort of event that's gonna be more competitive and it'll be more tourney style. And if I gotta grab a couple of third rounders to help fill, or whoever I gotta help fill it up, it'll just be cool to see them all play together and see who takes charge, who does what, who
Yeah.
holds more of the captain role, and leads their team. Who's good at what. So I think it'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, it'll be good. And you got your rush gonna happen before the season starts.
Oh yeah.
I was wanting to plan with you if we can get something going on the Mint Blitz server. I know we talked about that a little bit, but that might be something where
Yeah, for sure.
some of those 4th and 5th round people could show up for. Maybe there's a structure there that'll make sense for them. Well, so I think it's going to be all right in that sense. And on a grander scale, like one of my goals for this season is I really want to get Grifball into matchmaking. I don't know if that's gonna. I don't know if it's gonna happen or not. Ultimately, that's up to the decision of 343. But I think I got some things going for me on that. And so those players will, if everything goes well, God willing, we can have a matchmaking experience for them to go log into and get practice in and all of that.
Look, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
Say, look, man. If you can get Grifball back into matchmaking, our community's just gonna like double in size.
It's possible. I mean, yeah, we're looking good right now. It's on the uptick. Like I said, we might have had 13 teams season.
Yeah, it would definitely be a big boon to bring people in. It'd just be you could run in matchmaking. You could try to message people you play with that are decent. You could even freaking sign up with a tag. I did that a long time ago. I signed up. I had an alt tag that I ran in matchmaking with that was grifball.info. That's what the gamer tag was.
What is it? Oh, is that a Grifball hub?
Well, this is what the AGLA was on before. Whenever I first joined, it was on a different site. So, but I just went into matchmaking like that, and it would, I got messages about it, like what is it about and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't. Matchmaking will not be a bad thing. That's for sure. So,
yeah, definitely not. I mean, that's gonna be up to Knockyard. He's the inside guy on all that.
And I know some people on Twitter have mentioned it. Is any plans of getting back into matchmaking? And I just tell them that we love that, but until then, we're gonna do our thing.
Yeah, we're trying. People who want to play Grifball come here, and they can definitely play Grifball. We got customs running every night, and season's popping off. So, but it's a different environment. This is competitive. Like, you get on here, you might get shit on by a novice, and he might make fun of you. You might get into a team that doesn't, it's a competitive environment. It's not quite the same battleground that those new players are gonna necessarily get out of matchmaking. So if we can get that element back in, sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, man, the old admins must have had it easy, and they were taking it for granted that they had like actual support from the devs that make Halo, And here we have to fight for our lives tooth and nail to like
Yeah,
get any sort of attention, any sort of SEO.
it was definitely better to have it for sure. It definitely made our numbers bigger, but you still had to work to people want to
Oh,
feel
sure.
special. People still want to feel special. They want to be reached out to and you know, uh, told they're good
Right.
and whatnot, asked to join, be a part of something. I mean, most people are looking for something like that. So I think
Yeah.
the important part is that we got the numbers that we could get for a season, regardless of who we could get and who we couldn't get. Uh, we just gotta keep everything rolling, and it'll be a good season. I think a good season.
Show must go on.
There's going to be shit storms. That's a healthy thing. I think stuff's going to happen because it's active, and there's going to be disagreements. But just working together and all that, I think it'll be fine. Then the next point that I have here is talking about game type stuff and junk. That's what it says. So this is probably completely a death crawler section, but me and Mav will try to get in there. But I'll start by saying Death Crawler has done so much fucking work. I don't even know how long it's been. I know it's been over a month for sure. Probably
2
closer to
months.
two.
It's.
Yeah,
I was
two
gonna say it's
months.
been what since the end. Like what? Did you start working on it in like the end of last season or something around there, like the end of June or like the middle of June? When I remember you started working on it.
Yes. Oh, it's an interesting story. A little bit emotionally charged still. I think some people are probably not happy with some directions that things have gone. But a lot of it has just been pure like throwing whatever we can at the wall and seeing what works. Really, what happened is there was a netcode change at the beginning of season 2 that seemed to really impact the performance of the game, such that digital's mode was just not working in quite the same way that we were used to. Which, side note, I will say is kind of funny because I remember so many people complaining about the season 1 game type and how broken it was. And I remember even in the finals, we were sorting Mungo on tip off and he wouldn't die. But side point. But after that happened, there was a lot more jank in season 2, and I came to digital and A Spence at that time. I think about June or so. I might have been late June. I don't know when when the playoffs were. I can't quite remember now. I think it was like the last 2 weeks of June.
I think the championship was June 22nd, so like mid June to the end of June,
Okay, okay.
something like that. I don't have all I remember is like the last game of the season was June 22nd.
Yeah. So I had been messing around in Forge and I found a couple of things that I was like, it's a little in the weeds. I won't get into the details, but I essentially found a few like mechanics within the game that I thought were interesting and could open up the door for some things with the game type. So I sent it to digital and I sent it to Spence. And I was like, well, what do you think of this? It's like a clip of me swinging the hammer and then like being able to get like a ball deflected or do a hammer jump and stuff like that. My intentions at that time was I just wanted to help out in some way to get the game type a little more consistent and keep things moving along, keep things interesting. I think one complaint I remember hearing from like Solace in particular, it's like, man, it really sucks when someone throws the ball and I like have to either catch it or like kill them before they throw it. I can't just like deflect the ball, Like I feel like that's been in all these other games. We can't do it now. And I'm like, well, that'd be great if we could have that in this game. But it just feels like the hammer wasn't quite complete in the sense it made sense with all the physics. So I was like, it'd be great if we could bring that back to the game and maybe introduce a few a few more elements. So that's kind of where I came to it. I came to them both at that time. That was kind of at the time when like Spence went away for like a week. Then I think him and Digital were maybe not talking as much with each other. Seemed like passion for the game and passion for this community was kind of coming to a low point, and so Dig was just like, "Yeah, I don't really have time to work on this right now. But go ahead, like, see what you can do, see what you can figure out." And so I just started working on stuff, and it seemed like as things got better, as things progressed, it was looking like a better game type than what season 2 was, and so we leaned more that way, and that kind of all coincided with the IGL idea forming. But Spence had put out that announcement, being like, "Oh, we're going to move forward with this game type. It's meant to be a rehash of what Digital had, but hopefully work a little bit better for the game." So yeah, that was my ambition at the time. There was like a huge server set of, it was honestly like 3 or 4 instances of the servers for Xbox Live and for Halo Infinite just dropping out. In my opinion, like, made the game substantially worse in the middle of me doing all of that testing. You guys can probably remember the Girthball arc of like me calling it Girthball evolved, and like throwing. I think I had at one point there was could crouch and then do thruster, and I reached out the pop dart, and he like I couldn't get anybody on to test things with me. It would just be like Mav or Dylan, the only guys that would like respond to me. But I had Pop Tart like get a lobby together for me, and Joshy got on. I remember this, and I put in this weird mechanic where you could crouch and then use thruster. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. I was just trying out anything and everything at that point.
I remember that. That was chaos.
Yeah, it was chaos. So it kind of started out that way. It was just me like throwing all my most wacky ideas. I had like an H5 clone where you could do ground pound and do hover. Like you had the suspension mechanic, and then added a little like jet flame underneath your feet when you were doing it. I thought that was kind of fun. We might come back to that. Who knows?
I mean, we all got to
some
start
other kind
somewhere.
of event. Yeah. And then there was an arc of time where like there was GE test 1, test 2, T3, T4, T5. I went to the lake for like a week, left everybody with this game mode. And it was at the same time that all these server issues were happening with Xbox Live. I remember being like, you couldn't even log on, play the game for like an entire night or something like that. And like twice, I think they got DDoSed or something. And I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't quite as smooth as it should have been. Some people say T4 was like a pretty good point for the game type, but ended up kind of moving on from that. At that point, I was trying to work with Captain Punch a little bit as kind of part of my ambition to bring the game type into matchmaking. I knew he was kind of connected with 343, and there are other people in his community, the scripting guild, that have gotten game types into matchmaking. So there was a precedent for it, like the Sentry Defense mode has been brought into matchmaking. There was like a zombies clone called Night of the Undead that got brought into matchmaking. Like OCOM made the Juggernaut playlist, like all of that. I'm like, okay, so like clearly there is a pathway forward that I could find through these guys. Know that there's a hunger for Grifball and matchmaking. So I kind of like had been incorporating some of the concepts for his game type, like testing and framework and stuff like that. Eventually, though, we gave Girthball a haircut. We brought it back to just Grifball Evolved. I named it that. I don't know. I don't honestly know why. It just kind of sounded good. I know that Grifball Evolved originally is like a thruster game type in H4. I think in Halo Reach, wasn't it Evade? You guys remember? I don't know. I'm
I
not
would
sure.
know. I've only been around for the past like 5 years. No Plex might know.
Yeah,
Pretty sure it was Evade.
there was evade and reach.
Yeah, so I was like, well, we kind of have a different game mode over here. We'll just call it Grifball Evolved, whatever. And it was a attempt at getting kind of a more catchy name that stood out a little bit against all of the Grifball like names on game types and game modes, where you would go and you look in the content browser and you'll see you'll see like the Forge Falcons Grifball mode if you just type Grifball, or you'll see like there's like 10, 15 other Grifballs, and all of them are shit, if I'm honest. I've played them all. I have sat there with Chemical and like a few other people, and we've played them all. We're like, this just doesn't make any sense. They get all the mechanics wrong. I was like, okay, so we kind of need a way to distinguish ourselves. AGLA Grifball was obviously a way to do that. I didn't name it AGLA Grifball. You might go back and call it that. I don't really care. But that was why I called it that. And yeah, so, I just asked Knockyard because I was like, I know that he's a connected person as well. I'm like, if we were to get ball into matchmaking, whose eyes do I need to put all of this in front of? Like, where do we start? And he's like, well, you start with me, and we can probably find a set of things to test for, like features that 343 would probably be looking for, and we can put this together. And I'm hoping, I have a few people have played on that test mode. It's called Grifball Classic. It's gonna have the gravity waves in it that are from Digital. Originally, the guy who gave me that stuff. And of course, like all of this, I still put Digital in the credits. All of this, and I believe like really I couldn't have done any of this work without him. This whole time I've like sent him things that I've been working on. He's had ideas. He even got on and like redid his game mode as a way to like experiment, try to handle some of these performance issues that we've run across. So obviously, big shout out to him. It's been a long journey, and obviously, none of that would have been possible without even the game mode that he had to begin with, which was entirely what I based our framework on. So yeah, I don't know. That's where we're at now. I think game type's in kind of a pretty good place. I feel like the hammer consistency has seen some improvements, and the game type feels like a game type. I can easily change stuff around when we need to. Like balancing has been a lot easier. We're still taking into consideration concerns that people are voicing, like over the fact that everybody's in the sky all of a sudden. Like everybody's jumping, doing hammer jumps, and then hitting the repulse right afterwards, and then they're like in the sky for like 30 seconds, and then dropping down on people. You can't even see them on the radar. Like, just things can quickly be balanced how they need to be, and I think in a lot easier state for me to work on. So,
Yeah. Well, I think I speak for many when I say we very much appreciate the work that you do, digital too, and I think I know it's definitely something where you want to test everything you can, like you're saying with the crouch thrusting and just really anything. I mean, when you're trying to make a game mode better, you want to try whatever the hell you can think of. You want to try shit out to try to make it more evolved or add a mechanic to it easily or just something like that. I mean, I'm an idiot when it comes to anything like that, but I know that much. So like if you're testing anything, you want to test pretty much anything you can because you don't really know what's going to make something better or worse until you try it in a 4v4 setting.
look, at the end of the day, I mean, if I'm being honest, I was just having fun, just doing my thing. I didn't really I didn't know at that time that we were planning on using it per se. I was just like, well, I can fuck around over here and see what I can find out, and then if it works, we can throw it into the game mode coming into the next season.
I don't know how anyone would have fun doing it. I don't like doing something like that. I'm not gonna call it tedious, but making small changes and like making a whole
Yeah.
new mode. Like I would probably go fucking crazy because like I just like
Oh,
like
I mean, it's an emotional journey. I've actually
I
scrapped the mode probably 4 times now. I think I've gone, started, made something, taken it to a point where I'm like, oh, this is probably good, and then like I get death threats in the mail. I'm like, all right, well, it's not good. I guess we got to restart. I just stripped everything back down, and I've done that so many times, and people are still not happy at the end. And it's like, well, okay, well, maybe we just keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. Eventually, something will look a little bit better than what we started with.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
it's an iterative process, and I come from a background of games like Dark Souls and just real punishing stuff. I think to me, I just like the challenge, so what it is.
like you've probably heard this 1,000 times before, and you'll probably hear it 1,000 times more. But like you're never going to make anyone in this community ever happy, so you just have to go with the majority. You can only go with what the majority of the people like say
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like you're still probably gonna try to appease everyone, and who knows, maybe you'll be lucky enough where you get something where pretty much everyone likes it. Do I think that'll happen? Who knows? I can't
yeah.
tell the future.
Who
I'll put it like
honestly
this:
probably never.
70% is good, 80% is great.
Oh, absolutely. And I think there's probably going to be people who listen to this podcast and you're like, well, what are you talking about? No, it's not more consistent. And they're going to send me their clips. But look, it's just what it is. Like, I think that I'm a little bit, there's one thing I'm a little bit black pilled on. And it's, I think that the servers for this game and the mechanics of this game are just imperfect. Like, we're never gonna, the only person who could make a perfect Grifball game mode is someone who is a developer for the game. Like it's just not. We don't have the power to overcome the desync. We don't have the power to overcome the server issues. Novice plays these games. He's consistently like 50 to 90 ping. Like I don't know what to do for that guy. I don't know what to do for Zim or Cosmos who has like a latency jiggle of 200 or whatever the hell he said on his stats. Like you just can't. It's never gonna be perfect.
So you hear that,
And so,
folks? You guys ready for Fortnite Grifball? I'm more than
yeah,
happy to make a
Fortnite Grifball, let's go.
I'm
Standalone.
more than happy to make a Fortnite Grifball game that we all hate but still play.
Honestly, and that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Standalone
If you
Grifball.
aren't, if you don't hate Grifball while you play Grifball, do you even love it? I don't think so.
Let's be honest here. We all have some demons if we still play this game, especially Noplex, who's been playing in this community and playing this game for how many
It's
years? Noplex?
it's been a
How many?
while, but I took like 6 years off, so I guess I had like a
Oh, okay.
sabbatical or something.
Everybody has their sabbatical. I just fear if I go away for a year, I'm gonna come back and nobody will be here. It's gonna be dust and echoes.
Did you just quote like a Halo? Is that from like Halo Dust and
Oh,
Echoes?
that's actually, yep, that is. It's from the one at the end when Cortana scans for any life after the Halo rings have been blown up.
Just Dust and Echoes.
Yeah, that's what I think. I'm like, if I come back, if I genuinely, if I come back, and I don't know if I place this much importance on myself because I've also thought about it. Like, there's a lot of dedicated people here. There's a lot of people that have been here through the MCC days, through like, I mean, this is the third season of Halo Infinite. Like, the game is not like that. I don't know. It's not. It's not like that popular. Like there's maybe 5,000 concurrent players or something. And the fact that you have like 10 teams could have had 13 is kind of crazy. I mean, I could be gone for a year and I'm sure I'd come back and there'd still be people here toughing it out, you know, and like putting together some cool stuff. People like Pop Tart, people like Noplex and Ace Spence, and I don't know, just everybody, you know.
Yeah,
You want the actual concurrent numbers for people on Halo Fin right now? That's his Steam.
Yeah.
So
On
on Steam,
Steam.
on Steam it's 4,000 as we are speaking.
Right. Okay, so it's probably like another 6,000 on console or something. Maybe more. Who knows?
Nobody knows.
It's actually not that bad. Think about it.
I think some people, I mean, for me personally, I'm waiting for the day that hopefully they'll eventually add like Halo 5 to PC and make it cross-platform. Well, okay, so Halo 5 is technically on PC and you can play Grifball on it. It's just not cross-platform. So like,
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the day, hopefully, because hopefully one day it gets added. That like they add it and it's cross-platform, and I think if that ever happens, we're going to have like a crazy Grifball resurgence. Hopefully that happens with Infinite, but hopefully if Halo 5 ever comes to PC and cross-platform, I think it's gonna
Yeah.
be crazy.
Well, like I said, I got my sights set on matchmaking. I mean, I'm going to do that. Like I will try as hard as I can. I think
I personally don't think a new game being added or matchmaking being added is going to lead to a huge resurgence. Yeah, sure, it'll trickle
Yeah.
people in, but it's not going to make a huge difference. Like if they port Halo 5 to PC or something like that, even make it clean, we probably would get a few people out of it. I mean, we get the Halo 5 crowd, but who's to say they would stay and play or like how we do things or whatever? It would definitely help though. Not
Yeah.
saying that. We need that for sure, but I don't think it's going to cause like a huge resurgence. Or I think we control that by being consistent and being around,
sure.
reaching out, little things, you know.
Yeah, it's all in our passion and our marketing.
But
And
your game
sorry.
type, you're fine. Your game type work is what I was going to go into into the next section because it really ties in together. All the testing you've been doing, we've been testing it in a competitive setting thanks to Lake League and Pop Tart. Um, during the off
been a
season,
big help.
oh yeah, during the off season, we've been playing a lot of Late League, just getting people in the lobbies, getting their rank, and then going into games. It's been really good for retention and having it on the off season for the off season.
Yep.
And then there's also circuits that have happened as well. Whenever someone gets enough games played, they qualify for the circuit, and then they're split up into teams. And there's already been 2 circuits, so it's definitely been refreshing to play in a different format. I know Mav hasn't played a ton of Late League, and I don't think he played in any of the circuits, but it's always nice to be a Grifballer and playing something different.
I played in that second circuit. I did not play in the first. Did you play in the first?
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't in town, but it was I really liked that second circuit. It was great. It was like a very condensed competitive setting. We all got to play, I think, 3 games guaranteed. I can't quite remember. But it was a lot of fun. You get that like really condensed, really like good like playoffs stress level of competitive play, but it's in like a very short format where it happens in 4 hours or so. I thought that was a lot of fun.
I kind of regret.
I think a
not
lot of
playing
people
for
agree.
those.
You would have liked it. You would have liked it. You know, and I appreciate Pop Tart for doing that, and I hope he continues to support late league events going forward. I know that the spacing and the kind of interlacing of that is a little bit different. Like you have to consider that people need to scrim to actually get good during a season. It's not going to be playing late league. It gets them there. They need to work with their team. So he has considerations to make on when he runs that ranked customs service because it could mess things up for the season. So I don't know. I hope he does it. I hope people stick around. The circuits were a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it was definitely good to see something in a different format. And again, it's good for retention. But I think even during a season, I think it'll be great for those, like you said, 4 Lux who they just don't want to play in a season, but they just want to hop on and get some games in here and there. It could be 4/5 that don't get to play for their team as much, and they want to get in the late league. Somebody that heard about it and want to try that out, or somebody that wants to get ready for the next season. It's just really good to get in. Hell, it'll even
Well,
be
think
good.
about kittens.
Yeah, it'll even be
You know?
good for people trying to get games in during the week. Whenever, let's say they don't have games until Friday and it's Tuesday or Wednesday, but their team's not on, but they want to practice. Well, why not jump in the late league, play by yourself, and get on the ground? Because you're still going to be working to help your team by doing that. So
Well, it's like we're simulating a matchmaking experience only, or almost, because you have that matchmaking being done for you. So I think, in a sense, like he's kind of filled that void in a meaningful way.
Pop-Tart
I would say
Pop-Tart's Grifball matchmaking.
Pop-Tart's Grifball matchmaking. Shout out! I think he got I would say he's responsible for us getting probably at least 6 of those signups, maybe more. Who knows?
Definitely more.
Yeah, because that was just that was huge. I think that kept things going. It was kind of just a real just it was in between all of the drama, all of the craziness of this last 2 months. It was just nice to have people convening for Grifball in a meaningful way like that, and to have having a ranked mode for Grifball when there just is no support for this game within Halo Infinite is great. So yeah, definitely, I love it.
Yeah, and for the first circuit, there was only 4 teams, and it was going to be harder to sort of even out the teams when you only had 16 players of varying ranks. But I still feel Pop-Tart did a good job with the players that he had. He ended up having to put Novice and Ace on the same team to make the teams more even, because had he split them up, he would have made one of the other 3 teams way too overpowered and made one team very, very weak. But the way he did it, a few teams had some good games. I know we had a good game against Zim's team, and then we had hung in there with Shrek and Spank's team for a while, but they eventually out tanked us. But we had no shot against Ace and Novice's team. They bull rushed us.
Yeah,
You
put those 2 on the team.
Yeah, Ace tanking and Novice running and keeping the ball like he does, it wasn't happening. So they were the champions of the first circuit, and in the second circuit, it's actually my team that ended up winning it. It was me, Sab, Shrek, and Epic Beast. We were the ones that won that one, and that was that was wild.
That was good.
I thought
you guys
that night
crushed us.
Yeah, that I thought that night was never gonna end, and I was like, man, I was so tired having to play in the championship.
You know what I told Novice? I was like, this is all the old guys are gonna debuff right now because it's 10:30 Central or 11 Eastern, and Necessary Evil and Noplex are up past their bedtime.
Elder abuse, man. Fucking elder abuse.
Elder abuse.
We got the advantage. Well, we still lost to you guys. It was a good game.
Yeah, I'm gonna be excited to see Lately come back in the off season or during the season, because I still would like to play in the circuits even if I'm playing in a season, because it'd be fun. But I'm gonna prioritize my season team, of course. But
for sure,
got to do that. So but yeah, man. Shout out.
You got a great team.
Shout out to Pop-Tart, man, and just shout out to Death for the game type. Shout out to Dids for freaking paying money to fix the late league bot. Man,
yeah,
we truly don't deserve, dude. Definitely. So,
do we know when the next late? Is there going to be a next late league circuit? I don't know if there's a third one confirmed. I haven't looked.
Yeah, I believe Pop-Tart said it's going to start sometime around September after the season's
okay,
already
so not
gone.
that.
Yeah.
So not that far.
Yeah.
I'll have to sign up for that. Don't want to feel left out again.
So he probably wouldn't do it. It's going to really depend, because if we get late into September, coming up on October, that's going to be when the playoff schedule kind of starts. It might not make sense to run the late league circuit right then. Who knows?
Things can always change.
Yeah, I think he said some more time near the end of August or something like that. I have to go read back what he said, but I know he's going to be doing it during the season, but it'll probably be less days that he runs it, so which would make sense. and I'm sure he's going to go out of his way to avoid league games. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think we could probably go ahead and move on to the next topic that we have, and this is probably going to be just as big as the topic we talked about just now. It's the upcoming season. We've draft is done and signups are over. Um, teams are chomping at the bit to play their games and all that. We had a lot of draft hype yesterday. I literally couldn't even be there while the draft was going. I had a
Oh
birthday
yeah.
party going on, so I'm checking my phone, trying to see what's going on, but I just couldn't. I was way too busy. So as always, best time of the season. Everybody loves bid hype, draft hype, whatever. It don't matter what hype. Everybody loves this time of season.
Oh, it was really hype. The craziest part of this draft was just getting those last minute round one signups like that. We got digital and then ace spins in the same 5 minutes, like 2 days before the draft.
It might have been hype for you, but that was terrible for me because I was having a panic attack trying to like figure out how the fuck I'm gonna run this season and what am I gonna do. It was not a fun time for me personally, but
I guess you're right.
if other people enjoyed it, it might good for them.
Well, I had a great time at your expense.
Oh wow, gee, thanks.
Yeah, I don't know. It was I think that for me it was very encouraging because we were so worried about the health of the pool. It was a debate for a long time. I felt like there was a lot of doomering and a lot of people being real depressed about the pool, and I personally had a lot of fear about having kind of a bad selection of players for my first season that I'm running, and that just being kind of like a taint on my name or something. Not that it would be, I don't know, but it was just a fear and anxiety I had. And I think it turned out we had a lot of talent here. It sucks that Ace didn't sign up, obviously, but yeah, some of these teams are crazy. I'm really excited to see how these matchups turn out.
As far as Ducky goes, he's got Spoon's team, Wang Industries, number 5. Spoon, Novice, Dylan, and Puppies. What do y'all think about that team?
I mean, I think that okay, so obviously, Novice is like a top 3 player. You could say that. Uh, Dylan is Dylan. He's a really solid hybrid. But obviously, like the main sort of like part of this team is how good Puppies is. So I will admit since I haven't
That's
been
true.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I will admit I haven't been around here long enough to see Puppies really ever play. So this would be more of like a Noplex knows who he is. But from my understanding, back in like H4, he was a pretty good player. He wasn't as good in H5, but hopefully like if he can figure it out, that team's like unstoppable. You're just not going to beat that team. Like
Yeah, I
when
mean
we
that's one where he took a gamble. Like that's a sight unseen. Puppies hasn't played yet, I don't think at all.
I think he may have played last night because I think I saw Navas posting highlights or something like that, and
Oh, okay.
he was there. I can't confirm that. I'd have to look back again. So he's maybe
Yeah,
gotten a few games in so far, which is good. You want him to play.
absolutely.
Well, I can tell you from my experience from playing with him. I mean, this is a long time ago that we played in Spring Leagues 15. I think we played again in Summer League 16. That was the 2 times we were on a team. So when we were teammates, he was a good tank. He was our fourth, I guess you could say, that season, but he really wasn't our fourth. He was good. Like he was a good versatile tank. He could be a lead tank. He could be an off tank. But we also had infection on our team, so he lead tanked a lot, or off tanked a lot, I should say. But the infection was a lead tank. Just stands there, very passive, and it puppies would rack up kills off of it. So um, if he can get anywhere back to that form and where he was in Halo 4 and meshes well with Dylan and Novice, that's going to be disgusting, I think.
Hell yeah. I agree. And Dylan's a little, yeah, Dylan's kind of that unconventional. Uh, he just has good playmaking ability, and I think Novice does too. I mean, I've watched novice play for a while now, and I've just been shit on him constant. Sorry,
Everyone gets shit on.
shit on by him constantly. and
Everyone gets shit on by him. It's just
yeah,
how
and
he is.
I've seen it, and I just know that those two are going to be demons together.
Yeah,
Dylan.
this is how I
Dylan
see this.
was.
This is how I see this team going on offense. Basically, Novice and Puppies are going to be the tank. Spoon's going to run, and Dylan's going to be flanker. Dylan's going to go straight for the fucking spawn every time on offense. That's going
Classic
to be
Leech kid.
yeah. That's going to be annoying to stop. And then on defense, this team's going to be pretty annoying because Spoon's pretty good at defense. Novice is just, I mean, he's elite. He's a good player. Dylan's also a runner, so he's good at defense. I mean, Puppies, if he plays a lot and gets his hammer stops down, I mean, I feel like this team could have good team defense.
Yeah. Number 4, you think?
Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah. Number 4, we got Hell's Angels, Spank, Infection, and Grunt.
Sorry, you said Shrek, Infection, and Grunt.
Yeah. Hells. Yeah, Hells.
Shrek, Infection, and Grunt. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a fun.
Yeah, that's
fun
right.
team.
That is not a typo. That is not a typo. So
I wonder how Shrek felt when he got drafted to that team.
I think he liked it. I think he likes the WWE aspect of just being in like a fun like enemies to lovers, just I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Like the fact that he's sandwiched between Hells and Infection is just hilarious, and I think the brevity of that, like, it doesn't escape him, and I think it's going to be a really fun season watching those those 3 interact together.
This team has like kind of, I don't know, I feel like it kind of depends on like how much Infection plays, since his schedule can be, I think it's not great this season, but like if that team can figure it out and like they can all figure out how to get along together and tank together, that team's gonna be crazy. Is that like, Shrek, I think, ended the season as an A+. I don't remember his exact grade off the top of my head. But like he's went from being like a B player to being one of the best players in the league like rather quickly last season. So like hopefully
we get a lot of that with our fighter game players,
Yeah, especially now with Cosmos, who went from being, not a very, I know we're getting kind of sidetracked here, but like Cosmos went from being like not a very good player to being like, one of the best new player, or actually probably one of the best new players in the entire league. He's only
it's like Eastern Bloc / Russian players who drop into the UFC. They're always killers. I don't know what it is when they come from that fighting community.
Something is different in the water there.
Yeah, something's different over there. Those guys just, I think, it's probably just fundamentally how Grifball mechanics work. You pop in and it's like all about the change ups. It's all about the like one-on-one mechanics, and I think that those guys just really pick it up and run.
I think this team, like you said, with availability issues and whatnot, they also have Trespass as their 5th player. So for when Infection's not going to be able to play, Trespass is going to be subbing in to them for them.
I think it's
but I say that this team has got everything it needs. Obviously, it's got. I mean, Infection has said he would run for this team, but you don't need that when you have Hells and you have your aggro tank and Shrek. And if
I could see him passing the rock around.
If you have Infection, then you have that passive tank, of course, or really just a smart high IQ player. And Grunt is definitely more of a passive tank. So you really have all the pieces there. And then even if you take Infection out and sub him in with Trespass, if he plays well, I mean, he can kind of fill that role. He can be a flanker while Grunt's a passive tank, Shrek aggros, and Hells runs. So, I mean, I think they're a pretty deep team and pretty nasty. Hells is key here because it's just she's really great. They're really great at it being a 2-way player. So running on offense, switching the gears on defense. I just think this team will be tough.
I'm not seeing like a crazy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think they might be like the best well-balanced team out of like almost everyone.
There's nobody like bad on that team, and I think that they're gonna. It's like they might struggle with tanking. Maybe they maybe don't have like the
top echelon tank.
pushing power. But I don't know if it matters. I don't think you're gonna get. I don't think you're gonna get over on Els and Shrek consistently if you're novice or whatever. You're not gonna like be, making them go negative on KD in quite the same way that you would other players who aren't aggressive tanks. I just think they'll be all right. They'll be able to handle those crazy tanks still.
Do we want to move to the third team?
Yeah.
Oh, it's me.
It's your
Whoa.
team, so you just go ahead and take it.
Oh, we took the most favorable preseason power rankings here. We popped them into the podcast. I love it.
Death, Digital Pain, Skullin, and Square Barton.
Okay, so here Ducky writes, Death has a knack for making playoff contending teams. This team should be no different. Digital's past play should speak for itself. Skullin being one of the best runners in the league, and Barton who's a beast at H5. Now to see if he can become the same in Infinite. I have confidence in my team. I think we're definitely a top 5 team. I don't know if we're the third best yet. I could see us going to semifinals. Obviously, I would love to go to the finals and win, but I get that there are some demons in this draft. Digital, I've never seen play besides in a league setting. I mean, besides when he's gotten on, when I've been around, and I've never known the guy to play much Infinite, despite making the game mode, and doing whatever he has to do to make sure the game mode's working. But when he has gotten on, I've watched him pick it up immediately in a way that I've not seen anybody else pick it up, and I think that that's kind of the theme with Digital. He has, for any game he's played, been really good. When I talked to Solace about this pick, after we decided together that I probably wasn't going to end up with Solace on my team, rest in peace. I'm so sad about that, Solace. Love you very much. He told me, he's like, yeah, Digital, the only game that I'm maybe better than him at is H4. He's just, any game he picks up, he's going to be really good at. I was like, yeah, we'll go with it.
I was going to say, definitely his worst game is H4.
Yeah. And he said he's like, if you're looking at Digital, Fancy, Sab, Shrek, Cosmos, that range or whatever in the draft, just lock it in for Digital. I think it's gonna pay dividends. It's gonna be a good pick. And to me, I mean, I'll be honest, I just wanted to form up kind of a fun team this season, and I know Brandon a little bit. He's a super chill guy, and I thought it'd be a good matchup for my team. Skullin, I picked him up. I was really surprised that he made it to me. I actually did not expect him to make it that far. I thought I was going to either end up with Decleek or maybe at best I'd get Tommy, something like that. Ended up with Skullin. I didn't even think about it for a second. I think that might have been my fastest draft pick. I just immediately after someone didn't pick Skullin when I thought they should have, I was like, Skullin, thank you very much. I'll take him. So super excited for that. I really like Skullin too. He's super chill. He's another guy that I've talked to. He's had stuff to do with game type development too. He helped me with getting all of the stats set up for the game. So we really got the dev team over here. Is what I've been saying. We'll put all the cheat codes in and not fucking tell anybody about it. And then we got Barton. That was a Skullin suggestion. He just sent me one message like, "Do you want to take a risk?" And I'm like, "Let's take a risk, baby." And he's like, "All right, get Square Barton. That guy's a demon at H5. He could end up being the best value pick anybody's made in this draft. Let's just go for it." All right, I'll take a risk on third round at any time. We wanted to pick up Majestic Kittens there, but we just figured that Kem or Spank would definitely pick up Square Barton in that third round right after us. So it just wasn't worth taking the risk. So we went for Barton there in the third round. And the great thing is we got Majestic Kittens in the end anyways. So really looking forward to him. I think Majestic Kittens is going to be a great project as well, Guy's got a good attitude. I'm gonna have fun playing with him. He was on my team in the circuit, the second circuit for late league. Uh, Novice kind of bullied him a little bit, but he's a good. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. He played H4 Grifball, and I think he's gonna pick the game up and be a pretty good player. So excited for all that.
I mean, not to expose some captain's draft lists, but Chemical did have Square Barton pretty high on his third round draft list.
Okay, so
So
I was right. They
yeah.
were definitely going to pick him up.
You are very, I guess, smart and right to probably have picked him there because he would have. I think he would have gone to Chemical because yeah, number one in the third round had him. And he already got drafted. Yeah, so he would have picked Square Barton if you would not have picked him where you did. So that was smart.
Okay. Yeah, I knew he was going to go. I thought we could maybe get him in the fourth, but there was talking to Skull and we're like, yeah, I just think these other guys that have played H5, they're going to know him and they're going to pick him up.
I don't think you did much of a risk going for digital personally.
He's always been
Oh,
good at
I don't
every
think
game.
so
I
either.
Sure, it can be risky.
Regardless.
Sure, he could be risky because he's never played this game, but he's definitely going to have the biggest upside. All the other players, we kind of know how good they already are, but we don't really know how high of a ceiling he has in this game. And I'm telling you, from playing with this guy and competing against him in other games, you wanted to draft him. He will be a fucking beast. I already know.
I've heard he's insane on Halo Reach.
He's
yes.
Think of Sab. That he plays a lot like Sab. That survival defensive tank, super smart, super good at defense, super good understanding of reload range, stuff like that. Yeah. He's just fucking.
I think that's going to be him. He's going to be our passive tank for the most part. Just a guy that's super solid. And then me, I will probably be running, but we might be passing the rock around here between Digital, Skull, and me.
Yeah, and I know you wanted to get Skull in as your runner too, to kind of figure, get him in second round, secure somebody that's a heavy runner and that can take care of it, and then taking a chance on Barton, or Square Barton, that's good because if you wouldn't have picked him up, somebody else would have grabbed him later on. So why not?
Yeah. Oh, your team's next. Number 2.
Oh yay! Extortion season. Shout out to Spank. So yeah, Spank, Gingy, me, TJP. We obviously the tanking is there with those two. I have my moments, but I'm definitely no lead tank or anything. But between Spank and Gingy, that there should be a lot of space eaten, and we were pretty thrilled that TJP dropped all the way down. If it wouldn't have been TJP, it would have been somebody else we wanted, like Endesis. We were looking at Endesis too, and some other players, but we were pretty thrilled that TJP dropped. And so I think with this team, all the pieces are there, really. So it'll just be all about meshing, Spank and Gingy tanking together, me filling in, flanking, whatever. TJP's a better flanker than me, but Death, you probably have more experience. You know him better than I do because you played with him in season 1. So
yeah, just get him to grapple. Get him to grapple, and yeah, he'll surprise you sometimes. I think he can get really streaky. He went super deep. I'd consider picking him up, but the recommendation from Scullin was to get Square Barton, and I was like, all right, we're going to roll with that. I trust Scullin more on those. I trusted Scullin more for that decision, and I've trusted him more in the past because he's just a little more experienced and better at predicting things than me. So I was like, all right, we'll go with it.
Is TJP the steal of the draft? Because I mean, I didn't expect. I honestly thought he might go in like the back end of the second. I didn't expect.
I thought so too.
Fall that far.
He might shine and be a C or like a B- player if he gets the time to play this game. So who knows?
Yeah, he just had a bad season last season, but I wouldn't say it was bad. I mean, they had a good team. They just barely missed playoffs, but I just think he didn't have his best season. And yeah, I want to say he mentioned internet issues maybe last season that he's not going to have now. So hopefully that'll help him play a little bit more consistent. So I think probably
That's true.
the biggest thing with our team is the biggest question: who's going to run the ball.
I was about to ask that.
But I know Gingy's good at running it. I hate it, but I can do it. And I know I'm pretty sure between us three we'll be fine. Whether I have to or TJP.
TJ can run. TJ can run it. You're gonna have to talk to him about just scaling it back. He likes to be aggressive and
Well, that's
with
better
the ball, but
that's better than me
make good
running it.
decisions.
That's better than me running it because I run way too passive and I'll lose it anyway. So aggressive running's fine by me, but I'm pretty happy I went to this team. There was obviously I'll play for anyone, but obviously I'm gonna have my top 3 or 4, 5 teams that I want to go to, and this team was definitely in the top of my list. So Spank was like, "Sorry, you could have went to a super team." I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah, what do you mean?
What do you mean? Like I thought this was pretty good land for me. I figured,
Gingy, yeah.
yeah, I figured it was gonna happen. I was gonna go about that time. Either that, if I didn't go to them, I'm quite sure Evil would have picked me up next. And speaking of Evil's team,
They're number 1.
they're number 1.
Number 1 on Ducky's list.
Evil, Snipe, Fanciest Pants, and Mungo Hungo.
Mungo.
I mean, to be fair,
I was surprised by that snipe. He sniped Mungo from what he did.
I almost feel like it's sort of like a missed opportunity here that he didn't pick A Spence, if I'm being honest here. But I also understand that everyone has their preferences and like who they want to play for. But like, I mean, still, when you get fancy, well, partially this is, I guess, an admin fault. But like when you get fancy in the second round, when he's maybe one of the top 5 best tanks in the entire league, when he's like really going.
Well, that guy's probably. Hey, I mean, let's be honest. He's probably been taking draft stock
Purposely.
Purposely.
Oh, I don't know.
Definitely.
I don't know if it's purposeful or he just kind of in the passion that he does during the season.
He's washed, according to him.
He's washed.
He says he's washed. So let him fall to the second round, man.
Hey, man. Everybody's washed until it comes time to get those stats in, during the
And we'll see Fancy's like plus 300 by like the middle of the season.
Yeah, I think we're gonna. It's gonna be a very funny power team, to be honest. We're gonna look back on this and be like, "Yep, we called it at the beginning."
I actually wonder who runs this team because like I know Evil can and I know Mungo can. I'm wondering if like maybe Evil.
I wouldn't hit it to Evil. I'd probably go for Mungo, right?
I mean, yeah, because Evil's sort of a flanker now, isn't he? He doesn't really run that much, to my knowledge, in late league.
Well, I nerfed his shit. I took out the repulsor jump thing.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah, I did.
When did you do that? I don't remember that. Is this new? I don't remember you taking that out.
Yeah, this is new because, really it was just too much. People were in the sky, like almost touching the ceiling after they hit a perfect hammer jump with a repulse, and just needed to go. It wasn't ever really meant to be that way. So yeah, it's gone. I mean, he was doing that a lot, and Ducky's doing that a lot. I think it creates a lot of confusion if you can just get your third rounder to just hit it. It was kind of like the first season, people would go, "Oh, take out your sword, and just go trade someone." It was just that was the strategy. You had someone who couldn't get the kills with their hammer, and you just send them out to die with their sword. It would end up being one of those situations again.
Yeah, I think.
But
I think there's a good bit of fine-looking teams this season. I mean, last season saw for some pretty balanced teams, but I still say there are some good teams. Quite a few actually. Well, I'll be looking forward to the games.
I think the playoffs are going to look very competitive. I think we had really competitive playoffs this last season. We got into 4-4 games with Shrek's team. I never saw that coming. Just look at that lineup: Papa Snipes, Shrek, Cosmos. That's 3 first rounders. All of those people went in the first round, right there on their lineup, and we had 1 first rounder on our team. I mean, like I don't know how that happens, but
Darkest
We
of
definitely could have won a game in that series.
the
I don't know if we
darkest
could
of
have
the
won the
darkest
series, but we
horse,
definitely could have won
for
it.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely dark horse in the
Oh, we were
playoffs.
just on it. We were
Oh,
just on it. I think, yeah, and I look at the season now, it's going to be a lot of like, it was this way last season for me, but like, be this way for the season, especially where it's how much can I saddle up? How much can I pull my weight on my team and do the best I can? And I think I'm not having to mess around with the game type, and I can actually just focus in on playing. Maybe I can do that for my team, and we can get to the semis, get to the ship.
I've always thought it was a little difficult to captain a team while being an admin, so I'm really glad I didn't have to captain. Always thought that
Uh,
prioritizing that was hard. You have to compartmentalize it a little bit, but it's still possible. Others have done it and succeeded, so
yeah,
it's
Ace Spence did it.
yeah, it's definitely possible. So yeah, and this really ties into what I know we've already talked about it and touched on it a few times here and there, but I mean, you've had so much success as a captain in your first 2 seasons, especially in season one. I know you probably got a little help from Spence drafting in season one because probably I'm sure you were.
No,
Oh, I wasn't sure because I know
I
he
wouldn't
helped
say
some.
so.
I know he helped some captains, but first season, yeah, maybe that's a fluke or whatever. But 2 seasons in a row with a deep playoff run, there's something there for sure. You definitely know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, I think that first season, what happened was is I had a toss up, so I was left with Scomancer and Lux as my two S rank players on my captain's reference sheet. I didn't know anything about any of these guys. I didn't talk to anybody except for Ace Spence. Looking at the sheet, and I'm like, all right, I guess I'll have to take an S. And I pulled up their Halo Infinite stat sheets. I looked at everything I could find on the people. And something just told me to pick Lux. I don't know why. And it turned out that he was a good pick because he didn't drop out of the season within the first 2 weeks. So, like Scomancer did.
It's never a smart idea to draft Scomancer in the first round. Just don't fall for it, man. It's
Yeah.
whatever mumbo fucking jumbo he's like trying to convince or something. He's like a really bad car salesman. That like Sco is fucking okay. No offense, but Sco's fucking terrible. He like I guess I have a bias towards him since me and him have not always been on the right foot, you could say. But it's just never draft Sco in the first round. It doesn't go well.
Damn.
It's okay, Mav. This is a place where you can let it all out.
That dude fucking
Damn.
sucks.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard, he's fucked over a lot of teams.
Yeah, he fucked me over in a tournament once.
Yeah. Spank told me, he's like, yeah, he just ghosted me.
I personally have
Yeah,
never had a
sucks.
problem with him on my team. I don't know if I'm just magical or something, but both times he was on my
Maybe.
team, he played weird. But
Yeah, maybe just something in the, yeah.
maybe it's
Lucky.
the dad effect. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I
no play.
the next thing we got here, and we're getting kind of close to the end. This has been a hell of an episode, but no, I just have something to talk about really quickly. It's just a preseason rush you already talked about earlier. I'm looking. It's looking like it's going to be on Friday. I'm working on the form now, and I'm going to be sending it out. But to kind of go back and do something that I forgot to talk about a little bit was this late league circuits leaderboard or the circuit points leaderboard. I forgot all about that. Of course, HB Silence #1. So I guess that's really all you need to know about that. But the circus points kind of went off of winning the tourneys and getting MVP too. So just quickly here, the top 10: HB Silent, Shrek, Sab, Epic Beast, myself, Psyducky, Ace Spence, Mystical Novice, and Active Spoon, and KD Skill. They were the top 10, with Chemical being tied for 10th too. So yeah, that's my bad. I forgot about that. So just wanted to throw that in there. But yeah, I'll be sending stuff out about the rush pretty soon. It's usually been a pretty popular event. I know everybody's always eager to get their new team out there and see how they stack up in a competitive setting. And It's always been fun in the past, so I'm hoping to get a good turnout again.
I remember having fun last season. We got to the finals and then got
Destroyed
who
by
beat
Infection's team.
us.
Yeah,
Infections
because I
team,
subbed for
yeah.
Solus, didn't I?
Yeah, no, that was brutal. I
I
do
think
remember that now.
because we waited for like 3 hours. No, not 3 hours. I think we waited for like an hour or something for like the bracket to get finished up. And by the point, I think we were all just ready to go bed. Then we just got
But
like,
we were waiting for an hour too.
well, I was playing. As I say, I was playing for you, wasn't I?
Oh, you were playing for us. That's right. Okay, sorry. And you
Yeah.
said you were playing for Hells. My bad.
No, uh, oh, jeez, now I'm fucking confused.
Well, we probably did so good because you were on our team. Sauce wasn't really familiar with the game type at that point.
Yeah,
They
our
won.
that 19 that signed up threw a wrench into it because with 8 teams it would have been a nice neat bracket, but that 19 forces a first round bye. And I think if I
Yeah.
remember right, I think Infection's team needed the bye because he was gonna be a little late. So then they kind of mulled things up. I had to give him priority since he was gonna be late, but I'm hoping to get a good turnout again. I always like to see a lot of teams interested in playing in those rushes. So, but really, guys, the only thing we got really left to talk about shout outs, whoever y'all want to talk shit on or shout out or whatever you got to say before we close it down. It's give y'all the floor.
You really want to open up that floodgate with me?
Oh
Yeah,
boy,
yeah,
I'll let Death go first before I say
yeah,
my
dude.
things.
This is what you say. What you got to say before we cut off the episode. And people don't want to listen
Shout
to it,
out.
they can skip to the fucking end.
Huge shout out to Solace. That's super cool. Big shout out to the admin team here, A Spence, Noplex, and Mav. We're already taking shit. You know, I won't speak on what it exactly is going on, but you know, we're already
Chaos.
handling the chaos right now. It's going to be a very fun season. I'm sure something's going to happen. We're probably going to unveil a Smurf here or an alt there, and then have to make some executive decisions. And then big shout out to everyone who is sending me clips of their hammer not working. Makes me happy, makes me laugh, makes me cry. Everything I experience um, within 90 seconds of looking at your clip. So keep them up. I love it. I hope we have a great season. So that's all I had to say.
All right, I guess it's my turn.
It is.
I'm about to have like a look. I don't know if any of you watch basketball. Do any of you watch basketball?
Oh, really?
Yes, a little bit.
Okay. I don't know if you get this reference, but like, you remember how LeBron had like his free agency thing where he picked a team?
Yes.
I've come to a decision that I guess I'll probably play for Pop Tart this season, unfortunately, because I have nothing else to do.
You mean you're gonna play for the team that drafted you? You're
Unfortunately,
such a lad.
Spence gave me some very interesting words, and then I'm like, do I really want to play if I want to be an admin? I already spoke to Death about this earlier, I guess. But I guess I'll play. I have nothing else to do.
Do it. Do
Shut
it.
up. Shut up before I change my decision.
Playing and being an admin is definitely easier than captaining and being an admin. So that's got you beat there, sadly.
I guess my dream of sitting here and doing nothing and just running the season did not go as I planned.
Well,
Nope. The world demands too much of you.
it's just hard when you're a good player, man. That's really the bane that you face. You're good.
I miss the days when I was a third round draft pick.
Telling you,
Never
man.
become good at anything. It sucks.
I'll be a fourth forever, except I'm a third this season. So,
Yeah,
made
everyone should be a fourth round pick so they can just, coast and never have to really do anything and no expectations.
That's my plan, man. You know, if I can get into the next season into the pool, captaining, I think that'll
Yeah.
be me.
Death not captaining for the first time, that'll be interesting.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I know, right? I'm not going to be a freeloader.
You won't
Free
won't
flow.
have any idea where you'll go in the draft order either. That'll be the fun part. You'll have no idea where you'll go. I mean, you'll have an idea, or
Yeah.
whatever, but I guess
I'll have an idea.
I guess I'll really do shout outs a little different this time. I'm gonna give, of course, what we talked about earlier. Got to give shout out to the new players that have been on the grind. Majestic Kitten just jumped right into the deep fryer. He into the deep end,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. He didn't want to be babied or none of that. He jumped right in, and he's improved already. It'll take time for him to improve again. Indices from coming back. He was a Halo Reach, Halo 4 player that came back after a long time, and he's picked it up quite well, quite quickly. The Goosler, ganked your ass, ninja'd your ass.
I like those guys.
Oh my God, you ate my rice. He came back and played. Lux, he played a game or two, and even though he won't play in the season, it's good to see him come back and play. And then Risky, he came back. Mega Muru, I know I've been messaging her about getting her into some customs. So all the new and returning players coming back. Shout out to you. Everybody come back. I want all the new players. Give them to me.
Yeah, and as a person who is a newer player on the time scale of Grifball, right? Because a lot of these guys have been around for 10 years, 5 years, whatever. I know what it's like to be a new player. I remember joining this league and being like, okay, so I'm captaining on the Grifball World League. What? Like I've played a little bit of matchmaking, but these are like the top of the top Grifball players right here. It's very intimidating. People will call you shit. Shout out to Novice. People will. It's tough. It's tough to pop into games and just know that you're the worst player on the leaderboard over and over again, or just just to feel like you don't have a stake in the community yet. But I respect it. I respect that grind. I hope that these guys can stick it out like I did because it's really rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, until next time, I appreciate you guys coming and being, or especially you, Def. I appreciate you coming and being a guest. And as always, Math, thanks for helping me co-host. And until next time, see you guys on the court.